Hello everybody, and welcome to what I hope to be a new series on this channel, Reddit Recaps, where specifically I will be looking at the top posts of the last month or so on the r/AlternateHistory subreddit. I will look at the posts, react and critique them, and hopefully this way I can get some more traffic to these kinds of Reddits, so more alternate history discussion can happen there. Maybe I will also look at my own subreddit one day, which has some interesting posts as well, such as what if World War I was reenacted in the modern day, which is obviously a parody of this video I made, what if World War II was reenacted in the modern day, or other interesting posts like this one with an amazing freeze frame of me during a live stream. So basically, I hope that these series will bring more people there, more discussion there, and it will be great for everyone. With that, let's dive right into the first post that I saw, the Ukraine war, but the roles are reversed. So the title should reveal most of the scenario here. Instead of Russia invading Ukraine, Ukraine is invading Russia. This even includes some nice little articles in the right here, like the president of Ukraine having an interview with Tucker Carlson instead of Putin in our timeline, where he claims that all of the former Kiev and Rus territories should be Ukrainian, and this nice map which shows all of this light blue used to be controlled by Ukraine. They have since been pushed back, much like in our timeline. Obviously, this scenario isn't meant to be thought of logically, because I doubt there is any realistic way that we can construct Ukraine being more powerful than Russia in 2023. Basically, the only way I can think of this happening is if Russia nearly fully collapses after the dissolution of the Soviet Union, while Ukraine somehow does very well, perhaps supported by the West or whatever. But even then, the comments have a little bit of lore in them, like Ukraine keeping the Soviet nukes, and I don't really see that happening without Ukraine becoming a pseudo-pariah state. So realistically speaking, this isn't really a nice scenario, but I like the map, I like the references here, and it's a good post. Then we have this one, the BBC front page today if 2016 went differently. So we can assume that this is a news article, or at least a news wall from like 2024. And as we zoom in, we see that the UK officially switches to the euro as the city prepares, etc, etc. So the UK didn't only stay in the EU, they even managed to integrate further, adopting the euro, ditching the pound, in a great move towards European integration. We have President Clinton. So in 2016, Trump lost to Clinton. In 2020, she was re-elected, and she's now calling upon her successor to finish what she started. We have Putin stepping down from power in Russia, and questions as to who might succeed him and what might happen next to Russia. And we have this article about Ukraine's missing children, which isn't really explicit, but those two posts combined do indicate that in this timeline, 2022 Ukraine war probably doesn't happen. And perhaps most importantly, the zoo has welcomed a new gorilla, so that's nice as well. I really love these types of posts, which instead of looking at a top-down perspective of like, hey, these are changes on the map, do a more bottom-up perspective of like, hey, here are some news articles, or here is some history education of this alternate timeline. I really like things like that. Then next up, we have this post about a recent video I posted called What if World War II was a three-way war? You can't really properly see the title. That doesn't work either. What if World War II was a three-way war? A video I released 5 days ago. And when I posted it, I didn't really realize what you might read into that title, and this person has changed it to what if World War II was a threesome. My bad, I could have probably seen that coming. Don't read the comment section, by the way, they are interesting. Then we have this post wondering if this is a better alternate history for Germany. So if we look at the map, we basically have all of Germany as we know it. We have Austria included, we have Czechoslovakia included, they still have their eastern territories, they still have East Prussia, and they even gained back Danzig. Now the alternate history here is about the Oster conspiracy. In 1938, when the German dictator was planning a war against Czechoslovakia, a lot of generals in the army didn't really agree with this plan. They really feared a war with France and Britain, and they kind of assumed that Germany would lose. This is a pretty logical attitude for them to have. The Oster conspiracy was a plan to oust the ultranationalists from power, remove the dictator, and restore Germany to a monarchy, specifically the monarchy of Wilhelm II, if at all possible. So, in this timeline, everything plays up like it did in our timeline. The Alternationalists take power, they Anschluss Austria, they demand the Sudetenland. But when the dictator demands the rest of Czechoslovakia and prepares to invade, that's when the conspiracy kicks in. They assassinate the dictator and they take over power. The main issue I have with this post is that instead of restoring a monarchy, the generals are somehow convinced to restore a democracy instead. While I think it's likely that some form of democracy is installed after such a coup, most likely the real political power would be with the army, the aristocrats, the nobles, and the monarchy after such a coup. And the people, while getting some representation, would likely mostly be sidelined. Another slight criticism I have of this timeline are the acquisitions of Danzig and Memel. Here in the explanation, they say that Danzig and Memeland held a referendum and chose to rejoin Germany, specifically in 1940. Now personally, I consider this way too early for such a referendum. Poland would never be willing to let go of Danzig and would vehemently oppose such a referendum even taking place. Giving up their major port access, even to a friendly democratic Germany, is not something the militaristic Polish government would ever do. Still, it's an interesting timeline. We have a big Germany, which is always nice. And for the most part, this Germany does encapsulate all the Germans and relatively few minorities. So the main question, is this a better alternate history for Germany? Likely yes, if it does happen like he says. If a democracy is installed, then Germany, combined with France and Britain, have a pretty good shot of preserving peace on the continent, perhaps opposing Soviet expansion, etc., etc. Assuming the German emperor comes back, the state is dominated by aristocrats. If the more likely scenario happens and a monarchy is indeed restored after this coup, then let's be honest, it's still going to be way better than what happened to Germany in our timeline. But you still have a lot of potential for conflict, as the monarchy would likely butt heads with France and Britain, rather than become a democratic partner of them. But with that, I will end this video, this first ever Reddit recap of r/AlternateHistory. This is the first time I've done a video like this, so please let me know in the comments what you liked, what you didn't like, how I might change the presentation, etc., etc. With that, I hope to see you all next time. Like and subscribe for more content, and goodbye.